Welcome to Sports Corner with Ralph Williams and Smokin' Jim Frazier. And now here's your host, Ralph Williams and Smokin' Jim Frazier.
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire Stick TV, Facebook, and YouTube. Get all your sports news here first. The daily podcasts are Ken and Ken in the Morning, Lions Talk with Smoking Jeremy B, Wrestling Roundup, The Big Football Show, and more, Shield TV, Lions Villain Report, and Red Zone Rant. The afternoon podcasts are Valhalla, Grosef Sports, WCFL Dolphins Talk, The Cheap Seats, The Bodkin Show, Spirit of Detroit Podcast, and MM The nightly podcasts are Palace Hall Report, Frozen Tundra Network, Skull Gang 365, The Huddle Sports Network Open Mic, First and 10 with Foz, Main Event Football Show, Prime Sports World, The Man Cave, Prim and Proper Sports, Spitballing Podcast, Lions Fan Cave Chat, Puckett, 313 Den Podcast, The Guys Huddle, Shots from the Sideline, Let's Talk Sports, The Michigan Truth Sports Podcast, Off the Rails, NFC Northeast, Power Hours, and Detroit Lions News. Make sure you follow, like, share, subscribe, and comment. Hope you like all the shows.
Yeah, that's in honor of of Ozzy Osbourne. Those of you who don't know today, and I want to send my condolences to the family of frontman of Black Sabbath, Ozzy Osbourne, and also he was a good solo artist as well. Had the privilege of seeing him back in 2005 with Black Sabbath. So the death of Ozzy Osbourne today, I want to say rest in peace to the Oz man. And also, we're here today. It's just welcome to the Sports Corner Show with me, Ralph Williams, and Smokin' Jim Frazier. Smokin' Jim, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Ralph. I'm ready for this one.
All right. And also, we have our guest coming up shortly, waiting in the waiting room, Nathan Breisinger, who will be talking with us today. He is from Pittsburgh Sports Now about the Pitt football team. In the 8 days, they have training camp. Ray Fidepaldo at 4:30 live from Steeler headquarters to talk about tomorrow training camp. He might even be at Latrobe. We're going to find out 4:30 by phone. Ray Fidepaldo. All right. From the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, who covers the Steelers. Awesome show today. The return of Smokin' Jim Frazier from his 1,000th episode last week with Pittsburgh Sports Line, and my wife's birthday and his birthday all fell on the same day. So that happened last week. We had our show on Thursday, and we're back on our usual time slot today here on Tuesday. We are live here in Studio 10, live from Berlin, Maryland, and our studio sponsor is Mata Heating and Air Conditioning, 724-201-0500, Mata Heating and Air Conditioning, our studio sponsor for all RW Media shows. We are on live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter X platform. We're also on the Kick Network and the Huddle Sports Network on Roku and across the country on Facebook as well. All right. Also, we are sponsored by Mike Dotson Realty, Ocean City, Maryland. Mike Dotson Realty. There's Mike right there. Let's call him today. Area code 410-596-1681. Mike Dotson Realty. All right. My rant today. You're going to love this one. All right. I just put this banner up here that says sell the team. Bob Nutting, please. More embarrassment with bobbleheads. This Saturday, you had Mac Miller bobblehead day. And what did you do? You screwed it up again. You didn't have enough bobbleheads. You got to stop being cheap, like you always are, and saying only the first 20,000 fans get a bobblehead. What did you expect? A whole heap of people showed up looking for a Mac Miller bobblehead. Bob Nutting, Travis Williams, Ben Charrington, you guys screwed it up yet again. You screwed up last year. You ran out of buns for a dollar dog night. One year you ran out of hot dogs. Last time you had a bobblehead for Paul Skeens, you ran out of bobbleheads for that too. Come on, guys, get with it. Well, you know what? It's another Bob Nutting team, and that's why I put this up today. Sell the team, Bob Nutting, please do so. All right. That's my rant for today. Smoking Jim's wisdom.
Hey, great job, Ralph.
Thank
Hey,
you.
I'm proud of the Pittsburgh Steelers for locking up the greatest player in Pittsburgh Steelers history, T.J. Watt. I think the Philadelphia Eagles you have regrets about letting Reggie White go. I think the Steelers have regrets for letting Rod Woodson go. T.J. Watt, in my opinion, is as valuable to the Pittsburgh Steelers as Ray Lewis was to the Baltimore Ravens. And Ray Lewis has a statue out in front of the stadium. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers ought to get some clay together and start working on T.J. Watt's statue.
All right, there you are. Thank you, Smoking Jim. Great job as always, Smoking Jim's wisdom. Okay, let's get to our guest today. Our guest is Nathan Breisinger from the Pittsburgh Sports Now, who covers the Pitt football team. Nathan, welcome to the program. But first, we're going to get our sponsor up here, and our sponsor is. Let me see if I can get my. Oh, there we go. Our sponsor is Tony Moreno for mayor, Republican Mayor Tony Moreno. Vote for him today for Pittsburgh Mayor Tony Moreno. You want change? You want good public safety, great public works? Tony Moreno, Pittsburgh Mayor. All right. Okay, Nathan, welcome to the program. First time on the show here, and I appreciate you being here today, spending some time with us to talk about the Pitt Panther football team. Tell us what we can expect this year, Nathan, from the Pitt football team.
I mean, I think it's going to be a little bit of the same from last year, but this team does bring back a lot of players, a lot of returning players, 6 on offense, 6 on defense, then a handful of guys that have been in the program. But I mean, with Pat Narduzzi, I hate to tell you this, but it's some of the same things. It's recycled over and over again. You're looking at okay, you can look at this team and you could say maybe they should be a 9-win team or 10-win team, but you also got to look at the schedule. They play some tough teams, but then there's also going to be a team in there that they're probably going to lose to that they shouldn't lose to. So, I mean, right now projecting, I see them at 7 or 8 wins. And look, last year they won 7-5 during the regular season, and that's kind of where I see them right now. I think that the play can improve, but just overall in terms of schedule, everything you look at, you see, yeah, right there, you got that schedule. I mean, it's only at a 6.5 over/under win total line right now, and
yes,
it's not all good.
Yes.
So I think you're looking right around there again, which is unfortunate because this team has the players to be better, but I think it's just going to be 7 or 8 wins again.
Well, I see them winning the first 3 games here. They play Duquesne. Well, of course, that's going to be a tough game. It may not win that game. I'm just. Hey, you never know with Duquesne. They beat Ohio U one year, so you never know with Duquesne. Central Michigan. I don't know much about Central Michigan other than that Antonio Brown, I believe, was drafted from Central Michigan. And at West Virginia, I know Richie Rod's back, but I hear that game is going to be good. He doesn't have a lot of talent down there. The cupboard's a little bit bare for Richie Rod down there. So, but the rest of these games I'm concerned about because it's all in the Big East, the ACC. Florida State might not be that great this year. Boston College with Bill O'Brien, Louisville, Syracuse. Look at what Fran White did there last year. They ended up in a bowl game despite the fact Pitt blew them out. They have to go to I believe they're playing NC State either at home or they have to go there. And NC State's always a tough game. What's his name down there? Mike Dorr, whatever his name is, I believe. He's a great head coach down there in NC State. And, so it's always going to be a tough game. Let me ask you this. If Pitt has a bad season this year and it doesn't meet the criteria, do you think Alan Green will fire him, Pat Narduzzi?
Well, it's interesting because those two they've known each other prior to Green coming here. Just a little bit, a couple interactions, but they've become close, I guess, per se. But I think it's going to be tough. I personally believe that if Pitt has a losing season, I think Narduzzi either needs to go or he has just a couple of games next year to to see what he can do. But I think this season, and I'm going to write about this over on Pittsburgh Sports Now before the season, this
Right.
year it has a lot of weight in terms of the future of this program. Because you think about all the ever-changing landscape of college football. You have potentially a super league coming. Who knows, with the SEC and the
Right.
Big Ten, and they're
Yes.
only going to take maybe a couple of schools from the ACC, Big 12. Well, Pitt has
Right.
to position itself, obviously, to be a part of those teams, to be even considered. Because basketball obviously is not holding up its end of the bargain, but
No, it's
of
not.
course
No.
that would only be for football, this super league that teams are talking about. But revenue, obviously, I mean, you got to pay players, so you got to be better to get more revenue, or else your team's going to stink. Also, recruiting, you're going to need the money. You're going to need to recruit players. I mean, Pitt, they've gotten away with not the best recruiting and recruiting classes that sit in the 50s or 60s, and then they can develop players. But sometimes that's just not going to hold up. And you see why they're so inconsistent, because they can't go get the players. So I think this year's so important for a lot of different factors down the road and where things are
Right.
going with NIL, revenue sharing, all of that. And it's going to be a tough choice. If they go 5-7 or 4-8 somehow, I mean, Alan Green's going to have a really hard decision. And he was brought in to have an eye for the future, unlike Heather Lyke, who was sort of sitting conservative more or less,
Yes.
especially with the
Yeah, I know.
NIL and revenue sharing. Alan Green is looking forward to the future. Pat
Right.
Narduzzi, if he has a bad season, how is that going to help you in the future? It's probably not.
Well, I had the privilege of meeting Heather Lyke once at Heinz Field. I used to work there, security, and I had the privilege of meeting her one time. She didn't seem to me like anyone that's an athletic director, other than to maybe go out and get some money, which she didn't do good at, and then she didn't do real good with the NIL. Pitt stunk up the joint with the NIL when it first came in and whatnot. Now they're trying to recover with Assurance 412 and all that stuff. So, you know, uh, all right, hang on one second here. Smokin' Jim, do you have any questions for Nathan?
Yeah, Nathan, it looks like Pitt got so many good skill position players. The running back position is deep, led by Reed, who's a great player. I think the quarterback can be outstanding. Do you think the offensive line is the question mark on that offense?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think that really is gonna make or break this team this year. I mean, I think the defense all around could be really good. I mean, the D tackles, we've seen what the linebackers did last year. Kyle Lewis was really good, Rasheem Biles, but offensively, Holstein's back. He needs to obviously make some improvements. Struggled down the stretch, got banged up. So if he's healthy, need to see improvements. Running backs, Desmond Reed, yeah, of course. If he can stay healthy, that's big. And he's a top tier running back in the country, not just in the ACC. And the receivers, a lot of guys there, but it's the offensive line, of course. I mean, it's been one of the things that has really hindered, I think, Pitt over the past
Yes.
couple of years since that championship team in 2021. They've lost their left tackle every single season to a season-ending injury,
Yeah,
and
bad
that happened
injuries,
with Brant.
Nathan. Yeah, it's been happening. Bad injuries. They've had to make swaps in and out of center, and there's no real continuity when you have to do stuff like that. And I mean, it's kind of hard.
Exactly.
But, and I think this year they have a makeshift offensive line yet again, but this time it's a bunch of guys who really haven't played together much. So training camps can be very important this year to see if they can get themselves together. What did spring camp kind of look like, Nathan, this year? I mean, I wasn't able to make it there, but what did spring camp look like this year, or spring game and all
Yeah, I think there was still a sour taste left in the mouth
that?
from that team. And a lot of the guys who are going to be looked at as leaders this year, Ryan Baer, the right tackle for this offensive line, Sean Fitzsimmons on the D line, a lot of them, talked about you know, how ugly and embarrassing that was to the end of the year. So I think there was more urgency maybe in spring, maybe than years past, because they know they might have a team that could be really good. I think a big focus in spring was that offensive line. They brought in Jeff Piercy from Michigan, a transfer, Kendall Stanley from Charlotte, and Keith Govea as a left guard from Richmond. Those guys were brought in, a ton of work going into that offensive line because, as you mentioned, Ralph and Jim, you that's where it needs to get better, is on the offensive line, and they need to find the continuity. So that was really a hyper focused area for this team. And receivers, I think receiver was a really big area in the spring because they have a lot of options there, but they brought in some transfers and they have 3 freshmen that they brought in. And I think there were some freshmen that climbed the charts during spring, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Tony Kinsler at receiver is a really talented kid, very raw, but he's quick. He's a slot receiver type guy. Running back Jakirian Turner, I think that's a name you need to keep an eye on. I think he's one as a true freshman that will see the field quite a bit this year because the running back room, besides Desmond Reed, I mean, it gets a little bit open there. I mean, they have options, but I think Turner could be your second or third guy running back. He's a compact guy. He can run through players. He's fast.
Right.
He's physical. The coaches talked about as soon as he stepped on campus, he was in the weight room throwing around more weight than juniors and seniors in the program. And that's an
Right.
early enrollee freshman in December. So I think there was a lot of focus on O-line getting better. DN brought in 3 transfers, same exact thing as the O-line. DN brought in Blaine Spires from Utah State, Joey Zielinski from Eastern Michigan, and Jaden Moore from Oregon. Jaden Moore is a redshirt sophomore. He has a lot of upside.
Wow.
He's 6'4", was a former 4-star kid, had a pretty good offer sheet, and Pitt was able to get him in, and the staff really likes where that he's at right now. He's a guy that could make an impact for Pitt this year. So it was about spring was really about fine-tuning those areas of need, offensive line, D-end, and getting some of those freshmen really incorporated.
Yeah, they lost some guys on the defensive line there a little bit, and I was kind of sad to see Julian Duggar leave. I was very, angry about that. He had a really good game in the bowl game, and I thought he had some great upside. But I think he saw the writing on the wall when they brought the quarterback in from Oklahoma, who he thought was going to take his job, and just decided to just move on. And, in a sort of a way, I don't blame him. But, he fit that offense of Cade Bell's very well. And I was kind of saddened about him leaving. But, we'll see what this kid from Oklahoma can do backing up Eli Holstein. See what happens with that. All right. Smokin' Jim, do you have any questions for Nathan before we let him go?
Yeah. Who do you think will be? You think the quarterback, the transfer, has an opportunity to win the starting job, or is he just here as a backup?
I think he's primarily here as a backup, but I really wouldn't throw that question out of the window because he played under Cade Bell at Western Carolina for a year, was really good there, then was there another year under Bell's father, Kerwin Bell, the head coach, and then he went to Oklahoma. So obviously an SEC team of Oklahoma stature saw something in him to bring him in. Now he's a smaller guy at 6 foot, but he brings a lot of those qualities that Bell wants in a quarterback, kind of like your Duggar, kind of like your Holstein, where he can throw, but also he can run the ball. He's a little bit of a dynamic quarterback. So if Holstein really struggles, now Holstein's going to be your starter, of course. I give him 5 games. If he starts to struggle, because that early part of the schedule is easier, but if he starts to slow down, doesn't pick things up where he started last year, I think Gonzalez has a chance to come in and potentially take the starting job. But again, that's a couple weeks into the season. We'll see that. But there's a lot of qualities that Gonzalez has that Pitt likes. Bell likes him a lot, of course. And it might be hard to keep him off the field just because of the relationship that Bell has. And if he's really pushing Holstein, I mean, it's going to bring some good QB competition. But who knows if Gonzalez can take that next step to the Power 4 level, because he played so long at the FCS. We saw Desmond Reed was able to. We saw some other guys in the receiver room were able to take that next step. But who knows? Gonzalez, like I said, a little bit smaller, but I think it's Holstein's job, of course, right now. But we'll see how it goes.
All right, Nathan. One other question that I wanted to ask you. Cade Bell took the blame for the bowl game. He said he made some bad play calls, took the blame a little bit. Where do you see him going this year in his development as an offensive coordinator for Pitt this year?
Yeah, I think he can really take it to the next level. I think, it's interesting because you read comments on Twitter and online, and there's some people that just don't think he's a good offensive coordinator, but I think obviously Narduzzi needed to take a step outside of his comfort zone and go with a more spread approach, someone who's a little bit more innovative than just a run heavy coordinator. And they did that with Cade Bell. And I think the first year they saw enough from him because they gave him an extension during the offseason. They
Yeah.
obviously
Right.
extended him already, that they have enough faith in him to lead this offense. I think you're going to see the playbook open up a little bit more, motion in the backfield, maybe some trickery. We
Yeah.
didn't see a whole lot of that last year. I think Bell now can open things up a little bit more. He has the skill players that he wants, some guys that are, in the receiver room that are smaller and quicker. And Bell is really, his thing is Holstein, whoever the quarterback is, get it out quickly. Get it to those guys where they can make plays. And their big thing that they're looking for this year is yards after catch. They want to get it
Well,
out to
right.
God.
Yeah. Well, what happened was, Nathan, was the beginning of the season, it looked great. And then when they
Yep.
had that losing streak, they started slowing down. And I'm like, the train was running, but now it's slowing down and it stopped. And then, that's why, I believe that Pitt was in the predicament they were in. And I hope they can keep it going, the train, this year, and not
And
stop it. I mean, I like that offense. It's just they got to keep it going.
And here's part of the reason why it struggled. And of course, Holstein got hurt. So you had Nate Urnell in there.
Right.
You had some quarterback carousel going on there, but teams were adjusting. The defenses were adjusting. They weren't bringing as much pressure, and they were sitting a few more guys back in coverage. And it was more difficult for Holstein to throw the ball. And that's somewhere where Holstein needs to improve on. But I think also Bell can improve on that as well. Instead of getting it out quickly to guys, I mean, they need to find some shots down the field. And I mean, you look at the stat splits from Holstein from his first 5 games to his last 5 games, they were completely and utterly different. The first 5 games, he had 15 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. His last 5 games, he only threw 2 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. So when he saw tougher defenses and when they adjusted, he had his lumps. He took his lumps. And of course, he was a redshirt freshman, so he's still young too, right? And I think this year you get another year in this offense. But I think this Bell offense, we saw the formula early on, what worked. And I think if they can get a couple more games out of this, they can be a much better offense at least than they were last year.
All right, Nathan. Thank you. Smokin' Jim, do you have any last questions for Nathan before we let him go?
No, great job, Nathan, man. Great information. Appreciate you, brother.
All
Yeah,
right.
appreciate you
Thank
guys.
you. Thank you, Nathan. And we'll have you come back on again sometime during the season, talk more about Pitt football. Appreciate you being here. Say hello to Alan Saunders for me, and have yourself a great one. Thank you.
Will do. Thanks, guys.
All right. That was Nathan Breisinger from the Pittsburgh Sports Now, here to talk with us today about Pitt football. Some great information there, Smokin'. Jim, your thoughts this year on Pitt's football team?
I tell you what, man, Nathan got me excited, man. I knew that there was holes in the offensive line, but sometimes in the off season, a good off season weight program can improve your offensive line almost overnight. So that's what I'm looking at for the camp. But I tell you what, if they just give Reed a crack,
Yes.
he'll run through it. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with having two quarterbacks that you can win with. And like you said too, somehow, some way, Pitt got to find a way to win. And I didn't know that Narduzzi and the athletic director had a prior relationship together. So that may keep Narduzzi here a lot longer than we may have anticipated.
Well, we'll see what happens. Alan Gamble, from what I understand, uh, is again, like Patrick Gallagher, into the sports program. Mark Nortenberg was not. He obviously was not very much into. I mean, he rehired Steve Peterson, which was a bad move. What happened, and then stuck us with Patrick Jeff Barnes, or whatever his name was there, the athletic director, and then stuck us with him, and then he left, and we ended up with Patrick Gallagher as our chancellor. He decided he was going to bring in. He said he was going to open up the vault, start bringing in some coaches and players and things like that. That sort of didn't happen really. And now you got Ellen Gamble here as the new chancellor. We're going to find out what her and Alan Green do as far as this goes. And, we got your buddy Doug Whaley there handling Assurance 412, who handles the NIL money, and we're going to see where that goes. The transfer portal, how they handle that. And we'll have Nathan come on again sometime in around October when the basketball team gets started, because Jeff Capel is on eggshells as well as Pat Narduzzi, because Alan Green did make a statement last year at the end of the year that all coaches this year will be evaluated. So he's looking
Hey,
at these
hey
guys.
Ralph.
Yes, go ahead.
Hey Ralph. What do you think about the possible name change going back to the Redskins?
Yeah, we can talk about that for a minute here, because we have Ray coming on about 4:30. We have Ray Fidepaldo coming on. I was going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that this Saturday on our radio show as well about this. But I think I kind of agree with Trump in one perspective, but in another, it's Commanders now and Guardians. Why not just leave well enough alone and quit switching names around and playing games with names? You know what I'm saying? And I don't have a problem with it, but I have a problem when it's too late. You should have made this decision a long time ago to stick with the name the Redskins, and instead of them telling the Indian people, oh well, sorry, and just go with it, or the indigenous people or whatever they were doing this for, they should have just said, okay, well, we're going to leave it as so. All right. But, now everyone's changing the names around with that. Cleveland Indians went to the Guardians. And now President Donald Trump has threatened that he will not give any money for the new Washington Commander Stadium unless they turn it to the back to the Redskins, because he feels that the Redskins should be the name. And, but he's our president. So there you are. And you know how Trump can be. He wants it his way or no way. And that's the way it is, but that's my thoughts on that, Smoking Jim. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I don't think it's too late because I still occasionally call them the Washington Redskins. I mean, that name was around since the beginning of time. So if they did go back, I don't think it would be too late to do that.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you're exactly correct. But you know what, though? That is you make a good point there, Smoking Jim, because what happens is that we all get confused with names. Look at Acrisure Stadium. People are still calling it Heinz Field. Look at when Mellon Arena was around. They were still calling it the Civic Arena. Look at when PPG Paints Arena changed from Conso Energy Center. People were still sputtering that name out. So what I'm saying is that when you change the name of something like that, it can get confusing. And I would probably rather go back to the Redskins, as the point that you just made, as the fact that if we go back to the Redskins, we won't have to worry about saying Commanders anymore. We don't have to worry about saying Cleveland Guardians anymore. And let's go back to the Indians and get that name back. Those were the traditional names of these teams. And I think that's where the president's looking at, Smoking Jim. What do you think? You there, Smoking Jim?
Yeah, I agree with you, Ralph.
All right. All right. Coming up, we're going to have Ray Fidepaldo here in a couple seconds here. He's going to be joining us by phone today. The reason for that is because Ray is down at Steeler headquarters, or he possibly could even be at Steeler training camp as well, because he's going to be there for tomorrow. Steeler training camp starts up. We had a lot of different, storylines this year. Yeah, excuse me. Wow. Aaron Rodgers, the draft, the signing of TJ Watt. Just a lot of different storylines this year. We're going to find out what's going on with this here. We're going to get Ray up here on the phone here in a few minutes, and we'll get him going. All right, stay here. Okay, we have Ray Fidepaldo with us on the phone here, and hang on a minute. Let me get Smoking Jim put up here again. Somehow didn't lose him, but I lost him for what I want to do here. Hold on a minute. All right. Always a technical issue here with something. There we go. Every show, you know how it goes. All right. Okay, Ray Fidepaldo, welcome to the program from the Post Gazette at Smoking Jim. Say hello to Ray.
My man Ray, what's happening, brother?
Not too much, Smoking Jim. Hope you guys are doing well. I'll be headed up to training camp tomorrow, the 58th addition at St. Vincent College.
All right, Ray, thank you for being part of the program today. My question to you is going into the training camp tomorrow, we have all the different storylines that were developed throughout the offseason. Aaron Rodgers signing, the when it was going to happen thing, the draft, the free agent signings, and then last but not least, the signing of TJ Watt. What's your thoughts going into this training camp?
Yeah, I mean, listen, you touched on all the big storylines. To me, the two biggest, number one, obviously, you had to get a better quarterback situation in place than what you had last season. Russell Wilson was okay for a while, but you needed to upgrade there, and they finally got that done. But I got to tell you, Ralph, none of that matters. Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf, Jalen Ramsey, none of that stuff matters if you don't get TJ Watt signed. They finally got that done last week. So to me, you're going to the training camp here. There's not a lot of drama. All of these stuff you wanted to get accomplished during the offseason got accomplished. Maybe some of it a little later than you wanted to, but to me, this team is primed. I think it's ready to contend for a playoff spot, and it should be a really interesting training camp up at St. Vincent.
All right, yeah, I believe that to be the case as well. We have a new defensive line, more or less, with the draft pick of Derek Harmon, and and now TJ Watt signed. I hear he's in the weight room getting ready. Smokin' Jim, you have any questions for Ray?
Yeah, Ray, too bad you can't get no wings from Dino's. They closed the shop up here. The Steelers lost Fitzpatrick. And is there a replacement on the 2025 roster for him this year? Do they got to go outside the organization to shore up that spot?
Yeah, I mean, I hate to avoid your question, but I think that's to be determined. And a lot of it, Jim, hinges on whether Thornhill can still play. Now, there's some debate about that. Word out of Cleveland is he wasn't very good for the Browns last season. So, we'll see if maybe a change of scenery helps him with the Steelers. But that is certainly a big question mark. And as you know, there are still some decent safeties who are free agents. Guys like Justin Simmons are still out there. It's the one position at this time of the year that is still rather plentiful. And I made this point the other day. It's almost like safeties now, guys. It's almost like they're like running backs. They're devalued a bit. You could actually get a good starting safety for relatively cheap, I think. So we'll see what happens with Thornhill, but that's certainly something that Omar Khan could address maybe early August, mid-August, if things aren't working out with Thornhill.
All right, Ray, let me ask you this question here. I know TJ Watts said he's been working in the weight room, getting himself in shape and everything else in this contract. Everybody's screaming and hollering about this contract. Or, 3 years, they gave him too much money. I think personally it's a cap-friendly contract. I believe it that, last year, or his last contract, they were 15% of the salary cap went to his contract. With this new contract, it's going to be 14%. So that means now the Steelers gain 1% in their salary cap, which isn't a lot of money, but as far as the Steelers go, it is.
Yeah, I agree with you. This will be a very team-friendly contract if TJ Watt stays healthy. And the reason I say that is, the annual average is quote unquote only $36 million a year. That's less than the 40 million a year that everyone was forecasting. But the big number is, and the number that TJ was always focused on, was the 108 million guaranteed. So they basically guaranteed the first 3 years of this contract. And we know TJ. When TJ is healthy, he's motivated, he's going to produce numbers, and he's going to be a big reason why you win. The only drawback, I think, guys, is if he gets an injury, if it's a long-term injury, then maybe that contract isn't going to look so good. But really, guys, just for 1 year, he had the pec injury where he was forced to miss half the season. Other than that, he's been a guy who's played 15, 16, 17 games. So if he does that, I think it's going to be a good deal for Omar Khan and the Steelers.
Yeah, I believe Jalen Ramsey coming in, and then the guy from the Eagles who came in as well. I think the defensive backfield doesn't look too bad. We're not. I hope we're not looking at Patrick Peterson this year in regards to the guy from Philly.
Yeah, Darius Slay is 34 years old, so you do have to wonder about that a little bit. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out. I think you mentioned the Patrick Peterson situation. I think he clearly lost the step in that final year with the Steelers, and then of course he retired, and he was actually younger than Darius Slay at that point. So that's a question mark. To me, the secondary. I think you're right, Ralph. I think there's a lot of talent there. I'm just not sure how all those puzzle pieces are going to fit together just yet. Is Jalen Ramsey going to be outside? Is he going to be in the slot? Is he going to be a free safety? It's nice to have that versatility, but in the end, every player needs a home. It doesn't mean you can't move around, but every player is going to want to know where his place in the defense is. So, again, that's why training camp is going to be so important for all these new guys. They got to figure out their roles, and they got to get comfortable in those roles.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Smokin' Jim, do you have any more questions for Ray?
Hey, big play, Ray. You heard it here first, man. Keep this in the back of your mind. Jalen Ramsey will never, ever, ever play safety. You heard it here first. But I was impressed with both punters. Who do you think will emerge as the starting punter this year for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Yeah, well, listen, Cam Johnson, people forget, he was signed to a pretty decent contract, guys, last off season, and he got injured, and that was unfortunate. But they are paying him good money, good punter money to be the guy. So I would be shocked if Corliss Waitman beat him out. But it is nice to have a guy like Corliss Waitman in camp. I was impressed with him the first time around. I think it was 2021, 2022. He came in here and punted really well. Steelers let him go. They decided to stick with Presley Harvin. So no matter how it works out, I think they're going to have a good punter in 2025, guys. And I think assuming Cam Johnston is healthy, and I think he is, I think he'll be the guy.
All right, Ray, thank you for being part of the program. Are you at Steeler headquarters, or you say you're on your way to training camp?
Yep, I will be on my way to training camp tomorrow morning. First of 15 practices up there. So, tomorrow will be the first of many long days up with St. Vincent, guys.
Oh, you know it. Smokin' Jim, you have any final questions or any final thoughts on for Ray?
Hey, no, man. We appreciate you, Ray. You're our favorite, bro.
All right, appreciate you guys too. I'm sure we'll talk during camp.
Oh yeah, you got it. Ray Fidepaldo, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Thank you, Ray, for being part of the program today. Much appreciated by phone. We had to have Ray on today by phone. He was busy at the Steeler headquarters. Tomorrow he's going to be on his way to Steeler training camp for the start of training camp. It's the players report, and then the public can go there, like Smokin' Jim and all them can go there during the week for the public as well. That'll be coming up soon. And but anyway, hang on a second, Smokin' Jim. All right, we got Smokin' Jim back up and running here. Smokin' Jim, your thoughts on what Ray had to say in Steeler training camp?
Well, one, let me correct you. I'm not the public. I got the same press pass that Ray got. I can be at every
I'm just kidding with you,
practice if I
Smokin'
want to,
Jim.
but
I'm just joking with you, dude.
I'm not gonna go watch them run around in shorts. Hey, Ray always brings that information. The one thing I think the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're always missing an important piece. Number one, Jalen Ramsey would never, ever, ever play safety.
Safety, right?
I said it here first.
Yeah.
Everybody's saying he's going to play some safety. He's not. Jalen Ramsey will refuse to do that. There's no way he's going to play safety. They got their future safety on the team.
It's
in my
Joey
draft
Porter.
report.
Yeah.
I had Joey Porter being a bust as a corner, which
Which he is,
but
right?
he's a natural free safety, especially in the 3-4 defense. He can play center field, he can face the quarterback, he got long arms, he got a nice he's fast, he got a good long stride, he's a smart player, headsy player, and he can get some interceptions back there. But as a corner, he's a washout. And they keep playing around. You got two good corners, and Ramsey and the kid from Philadelphia. You
Right.
should
Slade,
move
Darius
Joey
Slade.
Porter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because Porter can't play in the slot.
Right.
He can't play corner. So
Exactly.
his only option is free safety.
Free
And Jalen
safety. Right.
Ramsey, I can't wait for them to ask Jalen Ramsey to hear the answer. I mean, he may cuss them out so bad they may release Jalen Ramsey because he ain't playing.
He
You
ain't
know,
play-
and
yeah.
I said this years ago when I said that you know Moore would never play right tackle,
Right.
and everybody thought I was crazy. They said, "Oh no, they drafted a left tackle." Like he's not. And
Yeah.
yeah, my
Yeah.
info,
They keep
my
on put.
information,
They
my
keep on.
information is
Yeah.
second to none.
No, your information is great, Smoking Jim. You've been around the game a long time. But I will tell you this, the Steelers continue to do this, and I think you'll agree with me, shove a square peg into a round hole. They keep moving people around in positions they don't belong. And that's why the Steelers have the problems that they have over the years. They keep putting people in the wrong positions in the wrong place. Leave well enough alone. Let these guys play. Find some other options instead of trying to and I get it. You're shorthanded. I get it. You have injuries. I get that. But there, and I get the more you do, the more you can play, and the more whatever. But you know what? Sometimes it's better to leave well enough alone. Quit shoving a square peg into a round hole. What do you think of that, Smoking Jim?
I agree with you, man. I couldn't have said it better, bro.
All right, we're studio sponsor here at Studio 10, Berlin, Maryland. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning, 724-2010-500. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. Later on this afternoon, 5 o'clock, coming up soon, we have the Wrestle Talk Show with myself and Smoke and Jim Frazier. Oh, my gosh, do I have stuff to tell you today. Oh, wow. Wait till you hear about TNA Wrestling. Oh, my gosh, wait till you hear this story. Oh, my. You're going to hear this. You're going to love this. I'm hearing 2 or 3 different rumors right now, but the one that I got is really credible from a credible source. And wait till you hear who bought TNA from Anthem Sports. So you're going to love this. This is breaking news right here on Wrestle Talk. All right. That's coming up at 5 o'clock. And don't forget this weekend, the triple header of Ralph every single Saturday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., the Ralph Williams, Tony Moreno show. We're going to have Cletus Lee on, the mayor of North Braddock. Last week he had a work issue he had to take care of and couldn't be on the show. He's going to try to make it for the show this Saturday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., 12:50 a.m. The Answer, 92.5 on the FM dial, the Ralph Williams, Tony Moreno show. And we have a lot to talk about, as we always do as well. And I always appreciate all the emails and all the folks that are tuning in all across the country and into Pittsburgh and around the Maryland area here down around Ocean City as well. Also, don't forget about the Sports Corner radio show, and that's every Saturday, 2 to 3 p.m. with me, Ralph Williams, Smoking Jim Frazier, Claudia Rosano, and Luther Dupree. We got a lot to talk about this week. TJ's Watt's contract, some boxing fights, and a whole lot more. As you know, we're doing some of the boxing authority talk during this show as well. And the Pirates blow it again with the bobbleheads. We're going to be talking about that and the name change of the Redskins and the Guardians and everything else. That's all this Saturday on the Sports Corner radio show as well. Also, please don't forget about in between these 2 shows right here is the Saturday Sports Show with me, Ralph Williams, Leo Haggerty, and guests of our choosing. You just stay tuned to my social media platforms to find out who the guest will be this week. We have a lot to talk about as well, as we always do every single Saturday morning, 10 a.m. on our social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, X, Kick, and the Huddle Sports Network. Okay, Smoking Jim, open talk here as we get ready to wrap up shortly here. Before we get into Wrestle Talk, what's on your mind?
Well, I tell you what, man, it's just interesting. It's just you know, um, Mike Tomlin has been able to have success um, non-losing seasons. That's very successful in my book, and he's able to do it with a rookie quarterback who couldn't play,
Yeah.
Duck Hodges, who was basically a walk-on quarterback that nobody thought was any good. Um, you know, there there's just a method to his madness. I can't figure it out. Why, no matter if he has a slow start or a fast start, he seems to always finish the season with a winning season, with a winning formula. I think this year, more than any other year, they have to make a splash on defense, and they have to make a splash on a healthy offensive line because you don't have any backups, you don't have any depth, and to get that running game going. So I'm looking forward to a lot. I think that the new sheriff in town is the San Diego Chargers or the LA Chargers, wherever they are. I think they're going to be really, really good this year, and I would not be surprised if they overtake Kansas City in that division.
Yeah, you know what, Kansas? You know what? A lot of people are saying that, Smoking Jim. You know, our fellow media people across the country are also, talking about that as well. The LA Chargers, this is what Harbaugh's third season. This should be the season that he actually does well. It's always your third season because
Second,
you're second
second
season.
season,
Okay,
second.
yeah, yeah, but it's always your third season that you're really projected to do better because as you move along as the head coach, you're actually doing. But I think Jim Harbaugh now can get his players in here, can get what he needs done. I'm gonna get the guy from Amped Up Sports that usually comes on here and talks about the LA Chargers. I'll have him on next week. We'll see if we can get him on, talk about the Chargers and see what they're up to. As we get into our training camps, I'm gonna start having some guys, experts come on from different teams. Also, Mike Sisak will be on next week. We're gonna talk about this change of the name of the Commanders because he covers the Commanders, the Ravens, and the Steelers for Amped Up Sports. So we'll have him come on next week and talk about some things and all the guys from Amped Up Sports who have been a very great contributor to this show. Also, we're going to have Keith Engel come on sometime in the next few weeks from TGI Sports. He's been a big contributor to this show. Bo Crouch and several others will be on as the football season begins. Baseball season starts to tail out, especially in Pittsburgh. Smoking Jim, another debacle this weekend with the Pirates. Not only did they lose, but there was chance once again on Saturday as a sellout crowd for Mac Miller bobblehead night to gain some ground with the worst team in baseball, one of the worst teams, the Chicago White Sox, and they ended up getting blown out all three games almost. And your thoughts on this Pirate team as they move forward?
Again, I'm critical of the manager. You can't replace all the players, but you can sure replace the manager. I think they're holding auditions for management. I will get somebody in here with a resume with a little gray hair, somebody
Yes.
that can get some. Listen, there's no excuse getting beat at home after the All Star break to the worst team in all of baseball. The Chicago White Sox. The Pirates are just. I mean, the ownership has no respect for the fans, and it looked like the players again have no respect for the fans. The fans came out; it was a sellout crowd, man. All 3 days or something like that, or a very good crowd, and the Pirates just laid an egg.
Oh yeah, they did big time. Let me tell you this, Smoking Jim. What would be your thoughts? And I know he's 71 years old. I don't know what he's doing. Joe Madden. Joe Madden was really good at working with young players in Tampa. Took them to the World Series, and I mean, he kind of failed with the Cubs because he had a bunch of guys that were overpaid and whatnot. Joe Madden's not used today. He was with the Angels for a little while. What do you think, Joe? You think Joe Madden might be the perfect fit, even though he's 71 years old? You talk about the gray hairs? What do you think?
It would be a much improvement
Improvement,
over
yes,
what we have, and I
exactly.
would be all for it.
Yeah, I would be too. I've been screaming about Joe Madden for a while. When Hurdle stepped away, Madden was available. They didn't even try to go after him, and the Cubs picked him up. And I mean, he did okay with Chicago, but he did better when he was in Tampa. He's very, very good at working with young talent. And that right now, that's what the Pirates are banking their time on is this young talent. Because they obviously don't want to go out and sign any majorable free agents to help the situation. So if you're going to bank on talent, why don't you go out and get the guy who can do it? And that's Joe Mad. And I think he would be an excellent signing as the manager. I don't even know if he'd even want the Pirate job, as they say, because a lot of people don't want the Pirate job. And I don't blame him either, because if you got to deal with an owner, like Bob Nutting and his reputation right now, especially after what Rob Manfred said at the All-Star game, things like that. And, until baseball gets a salary cap, this is going to be an ongoing problem. Until the NCAA gets an NIL cap, this is going to be an ongoing problem. And until, that all happens, it's going to be an ongoing problem. So, I mean, that's exactly the way I look at things here with baseball as a whole as we move forward. And the Pirates should be lucky to have Paul Skeens. At least he won a game yesterday. And I hope that, they don't trade him anytime soon. The trade deadline's coming up very quickly here. I don't know where the Pirates are looking at. I know some teams have been barking the call about Mitch Keller. I know some teams are calling and barking for Key Brian Hayes. We'll see where they go with this. It'll be the typical bad news Bears Pirates, or I don't know what it'll be, but we'll find out anyway. All right, Smokin' Jim, final thoughts before we wrap it up, and we'll get ready for Wrestle Talk.
Man, I'm just so happy Paul Skeens got a win, man.
Yeah, so am I. I mean, I feel bad for the guy because he could have a better record this year, and he doesn't. And it's because he can't get any hitting. And you got big name players like Hayes and Reynolds and all these guys that just don't do anything. They don't hit. They don't. O'Neal Cruz hits once in a while, but as Claudio said, he's batting 212. I mean, he's really not even batting his weight. I mean, I know he's hitting home runs, but he's not batting his weight. And there's a lot of guys on the Mendoza line. So what's the Mendoza line? 200, right? Yeah, that's the Mendoza line.
Sir.
Yeah. So, and I remember when Mario Mendoza played for the Pirates. Believe me, when I was younger, I remember when he played. Oh my gosh. He was a good defensive player, but a bad hitter, man. Oh, he couldn't hit worth a darn. But of course, there were a few guys like that. Tim Foley wasn't really that good of a hitter, but he was a great defensive shortstop. I mean, so and a few other guys who were Rennie Stennett wasn't a bad shortstop, and then and whatnot. So, the Pirates have had their share of some good players over the years that they let go away or trade away, and it's going to be the same old Pirates. That's why, I call them the SOS, the same old, or the SOB. Instead of the SOB, the SOP, the same old Pirates. Sell the team. There it is. I got the banner right there. Sell the team, please, Bob Nutting, please. And once again, I'm going to say this. I urge everybody, please go to your local church and please kneel down or confess your sins or do something that Bob Nutting sells this team. Please do that. Thank you. All right. For Smokin' Jim Frazier, I'm Ralph Williams. Thank you for being part of the program today. Stay tuned. Coming up, Wrestle Talk right after this. We'll be up shortly.